All right, so we're going to go ahead and welcome our moderator, Miss Christy Clavijo Quiche. I know I messed it up. Come on, right here. She's gonna do it. Give her a round of applause, please. Say it right. Say it right for me.
All right, Clavijo Quiche. That's because my fathers and my abuelo used to call me La Más Brava de los Clavijos. And then when I was going to get married and I was only 22, I was like, I am not going to be that last name by itself. So we hyphenated it. So anyway, that's my claim to fame. It's great to be here. Buenas tardes. Okay. I thought I was going to be happy here being outside of the Miami humidity, but it's pretty damn hot in New York in September this week. I'm like, okay, so much for my Miami weather. But it's fun to be here in the center of La Cultura, where we can kick off Hispanic Heritage Month. So we're definitely happy to be here. And we've got a pretty amazing panel. I'm going to let you guys take your seats and then go introducing them one by one. A little bit about me. I've got about 25 years experience in marketing, public relations, talent management. I've sold off 2 companies, and now I have Talento Unlimited, which is a talent management, content creator, and digital strategy consultancy. We do a lot of event management, and we've worked with the New York Latino Film Festival on the sponsorship programs. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to let you guys take your seats, and I'll go introducing you. We've got Dennis Gonzalez. He is a native New Yorker. Dennis started his career in publicity after studying advertising and public relations at the City College of New York. He made his way over to talent management, where his current role resides at the Green Room, representing film and television actors, both up and coming and established. Welcome, Dennis. Mike Success Rodriguez. I love this name because I had so much fun with this. Mike is partner and CEO and talent manager of THIS, which stands for Trust, Honesty, Integrity, and Success, which is not easy in this industry. And that's THIS Group, Inc., a management, marketing, and media firm. He is a branding expert and multimedia producer with over 20 years' experience in entertainment, having worked with various labels and brands, including Warner, Atlantic, Hulu, Eva, Puma, and way more. Welcome, Mike. Celebrity publicist Johnny Donovan. Johnny works with some of the most talked about personalities in music, reality, television, and social media. He began his career as a prominent promoter and VIP host for major nightclubs throughout Long Island and the Hamptons, prior to launching his event production public relations firm, J. Donovan Productions, in 2012. And last, certainly but not least, is Mr. Darian Perry, way better known as Freshie. And he is the CEO and founder of I Am Freshie, a full-service creative branding and lifestyle agency specializing in augmenting audience attraction, brand cohesiveness, and driving digital sales for a growing client roster, including rapper Offset, Saucy Santana, and influencer Jada Cheeves. So this is our amazing team. I'm surprised that I'm the only chica in the room, but that's fine. We're going to bring the spice anyway. So, depending on how we define the roles, right? We've got publicists. We were talking backstage. From publicist to talent agent to manager. I mean, there's so many names, right, in our industry. And if depending on the day, I swear we wear every single hat, right? So if we had to divide roles, we'll talk about, what that is. But let's go first with Mike and Dennis. Given the fast-paced nature of our industry, does your role as talent manager converge with being a publicist? And how do you, keep those things separate or just work on them all together?
Hello, everybody. I'll say at the beginning, I think you have to do everything, right? When you become a manager and on the come up and you're attaining that success, I think it does. But when you get to a certain point, it's kind of like let the publicist handle the publicity and let the management handle the management. It does get, like I said, confusing sometimes because right. It's so a lot of the talent sometimes doesn't know what it is. But I think, like I said in the beginning, a manager plays everything. With a driver, with a publicist, with a booking agent, with everything, with a DJ, with whatever you need to have done. But that's what I would say.
Yeah. So for me, I like to focus on, working with actors. A publicist doesn't come, onto the team until much later down the road, once the talent has a project that they can promote and work with. So my main focus is to make sure that my clients are being submitted for film project, TV projects, and theater, for wherever those projects are coming out, whether it's Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles, or Vancouver, wherever. So my main focus is basically just to make sure that those submissions are happening. But I am constantly building relationships with, publicists and making sure that I'm still connecting those dots, because eventually we're going to have to build that team, whether it's with a publicist, a theatrical agent, commercial agent, and attorney. So I have to have, those well-rounded relationships, and, none of that happens until I make sure that my clients are landing those auditions, and, hopefully they land on those big TV projects, and, and changes their life.
So while you guys are mostly focused on the paid component, right, paid campaigns, would you say that when there's, let's say, a barter program or a travel opportunity or something like that, do you also stay involved just because of, the nature of what they might be being asked for as talent?
Yeah, I mean, anything that any of my clients are doing, I have to be involved in, just because of, production schedules and all the different moving parts. So anything that the client is working on, I always have to be made aware of. That way, because auditions can pop up at any given moment.
Right.
So it's important that, I know when the client is available for those things. And of course, if they do have a project, there is a schedule for that. We get those way in advance, but productions, they change so much that, we have to make sure that no detail is too small. So I am involved, but for the most part, everyone who's on the team doing what they do, whether it's a publicist, agent, everybody does what they're there to do. And my thing is just to be there for guidance for the client, and of course, just be a shoulder to lean on.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that, and we manage the person and the brand. It's not just a situation. It's not like just I'm managing you because I'm getting money.
Exactly.
Right? So on the overall, it has to be, especially for us, we're all about people, right? So the person is more important than the brand, right? So when it could be a barter, it could be situations, and I'll talk to my partner, Don, I'll sit there and be like, listen, we just have to do this even if we're not getting any money. There's no money coming in. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, when you're a manager, you're riding shotgun to somebody's career. Right. And a lot of times people just don't understand that, right? You come and get a manager and they're like, yeah, how come I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that? It's not what a manager does, and we're really concerned on your overall career rather than just the one situation.
Well, and I always like to talk about, something free can be an image destroyer. So we have to be really careful. Free can be really expensive sometimes. Okay, Freshie and Jonathan, and Johnny, I'm sorry. With your role as a publicist, do you get pulled into programs as well, or are you focused on driving up media focus on your talent to increase their value and their brand reach?
I'll start. How's everyone doing today? Love to hear that. I think for me, kind of piggybacking off of what they've already stated from a management perspective, I'm always thinking about things as, sorry, my phone is going off. I'm always thinking about things like as an overall compound. So not just for the particular moment, but what would be the everlasting story? What would be the everlasting relationship in which we create? So it's never about the particular moment, but about the overall campaign, if that makes any sense.
Right.
It usually depends on what the campaign's about and where the client is at their moment in their career, because everyone's different. Right. And depending on what they do, and meaning if they're a reality star or a TV personality or a host or something, it just depends on where they are in their career, pretty much.
If you had to say a misconception, right, about PR and publicity, because there's many, many, many of them out there, right? My favorite is, when I was in PR, was, what does that mean? What do you do? If there's a misconception about what you do, what would you say is your biggest one?
For me, is that we make magic happen or we make celebrities. We don't make celebrities, and we do not. Well, we probably do make magic happen, but we don't make celebrities.
I get the question a lot though.
Uh-huh.
What do you do?
What do you do? Yeah.
How are you so connected? oh, how can you make this happen? I'm just like, PR.
And I think I've learned to answer that as it's your job to be famous, it's your job to create content, and it's my job to make that content relevant, and it's my job to get that content out there. So I can't do anything with you if you are not doing anything for yourself. A lot of times people think they hire a publicist and it gets easier and they can stop the work, but when you hire a publicist, you actually have to work a lot harder.
Mm-hmm. Or that
I
you
agree
can
with
fix
that.
absolutely everything. Alrighty, so for everyone, in the age of social media, is it getting harder to develop a strong team?
We were just talking about this
Yep,
backstage.
yep.
We had like similarities of like conversation when it comes to this. Man, you know, social media has definitely changed the game. I remember starting this in like 2011. I worked on casting Jersey Shore. And from the minute of casting Jersey Shore to seeing the uprise of them being legends, of icons of reality TV stars, to even like Saucy Santana becoming such a like global phenomenon in like the gay market, and just like overall, it's changed so much. Everything's changed so much. Reality TV, the way people, you know, view them, just reality stars as celebrities now. They're like A-list celebrities. They use reality stars for campaigns. They're treated as A-listers, sometimes even bigger.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I think for me, I think one thing I always try, especially, I love content creators, by the way. One of my first clients was actually a content creator, blame it on Quay. So I think one thing that I always tell content creators, you have to remember you're playing with a tool that was essentially made for marketing. And so it's not about how many followers you have, or it's not about how many followers you have and exactly, but it's about the reach and who's following you. That's what really differentiates the social media. The social media are the content creators that are legends and icons from the ones that are just creating content.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on that too, because, you know, and the whole social media is amazing, right? But people also have to understand that just because you have followers doesn't mean you're an influencer, right? A lot of people just see followers, even brands that we've worked with, they say, oh, I want this person, and we can sit there and say, hey, this person that has less is probably a little bit better. But as far as social media, like you said, we were just talking about this in the back, it's when you're trying to build a team, you go around the people that you want, right? The people that you trust. And sometimes the people that you trust aren't capable of doing those positions that you want to put them in, right? Hey, you're smart. I want you to be my manager. You're this or whatever it is. And what happens is as they see the growth, the people around now want to do that instead of staying in their lane. And it's not. And when I say stay in your lane, I'm just do what you do. I'm not telling you not to do anything. How our approach is definitely the hip hop way, right? It's like you have the person, get them to a certain point, and then you're able to put on for your people, right? And just do it like that. But it's just that we're living in this society, right? 140 characters, 15 seconds, and everybody wants everything quickly. And it doesn't work like that. Be there, have your team, build, and then you guys, once you get to that point, then you sit there and you do whatever you want to do for the people around you.
It's a gift and a curse, you know, because it kind of eliminates what's in between where you are now and where you're trying to get to, right? So I'm really big on the process and trusting the process. So, you know, the thing is that social media makes things seem fast, and like things are just moving fast, and everyone's assuming why haven't things happened in a month or 2 weeks or whatever it may be. But it also connects people that otherwise wouldn't, you know, you wouldn't be able to connect with, you know, that are all over the world. So, you know, it just depends how you use it. And my thing is just preaching the process, patience, and putting in the work. You know, where you are now and where you want to go eventually, you know, what are you going to do? What are the habits that you're going to have to basically bring those two things together and complete that, you know, to tie them in? So, I mean, for me, it's just the more that I learn, the more that there is to learn in this business, you know, and, you know, I'm always just, it just makes me hungrier. But, you know, eventually you get to, you know, when you meet people and you speak to them, you know, you kind of figure out where they are mentally. And, you know, it's just, at the end of the day, you can't skip the process. None of us are exempt from, you know, going through whatever it is that we're going through, you know, the things that the public does not see.
Right.
So those things are important. Those things are huge because at the end of the day, I go through growing pains. We all go through those growing pains. And is to know that none of us are alone in the things that we go through. So, I know that social media makes it seem more like a microwave process where it's like you want it in 15 minutes or less. But, if you really want quality and longevity in whatever it is that you do, whatever industry, you have to make your way up, learn as much as you can, and, connect with the people that are next to you. It's similar like, when you get to high school, as a freshman, seniors don't want to hang out with, a freshman. So you're more than likely to build with those freshmen that came in with you, and you all grow together throughout that process.
I agree with that.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
the
always
same
say
thing in
that.
life. Yeah, it's the same thing in life. So just connect with the people that are, at your level, and like he said, find your lane and expand in that lane, and continue to grow. So that's important.
Freshie, you wanted to add something?
Oh, I was going to say, just to piggyback up, that was really good. I was going to say, just to piggyback off the social media question, also, you have to be not fooled by social media. Just because I'm good at what I'm doing with Saucy Santana doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be the publicist for you. Just because I'm able to move Offset around doesn't mean I'm going to be able to move you around. So to go back into Dennis's point, you have to know where you are at the point of your career and where another person is at the point of their career, and you have to grow congruently to people, not necessarily reaching for the stars all the time. But sometimes it's cool to just go with, if you are up-and-coming artist, go with an up-and-coming publicist. They're going to have a better rate. They're going to know your struggle a little more, and they're going to have more time for you because y'all are on the same playing field.
And I just want to piggyback on
okay.
you, as we're all piggybacking everybody. No, the thing is that, clout is not currency, right? But people think it is because I want to take a picture, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it's like you said, this is a business now. This is not just, people can do that, and people can sit there and take selfies and do what, and I'm just using that, whatever the influence that you're trying to get into. But understand that this is a business, and you have to look at if you want this to be a business, you have to look at yourself first like a business and handle yourself like a business. Don't handle it like it's a hobby, because that's what you're going to get. And if you want a team, get a team, and I agree with that. Everybody wants, you work with, Migos, whatever, I'm going to go over there, and they don't have the budget. I was having a conversation with somebody in the music industry, right, and it was an up-and-coming artist, and he was super green, you could tell. He was like, Mike, do you think $200 is good for marketing? So when I hear that, I'm like, okay, I see where you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has to start somewhere, but just please understand all the principles from years ago about business, principles of marketing. It all is relevant today. Just please understand that this is a business now.
So let's go on to some of the things that don't serve us, right? Because I think that there's so much power in the no's that you have to say. I think backstage we talked a lot about when you walk away from talent or when you walk away from a deal. So is there a point where either your team as an artist or the team that's working on an artist no longer serves you? And how do you know when that is and walk away?
For me, I go back to what I said earlier, thinking in long term, when we're not growing. If I'm not growing, if I'm not growing in my profession and you're not growing as an artist, then 9 times out of 10, I have to put my big man pants on and say, this is probably not the client for me, or this campaign isn't going anywhere. I never want to keep myself on a campaign in which we're equally not serving each other. It doesn't do anything for me, and it doesn't do anything for that person, and it only creates resentment. And a lot of times you have to be an adult and understand. At the age of 18, we're allowed to remove ourselves from any situation that we do not see beneficial for us. So I think of I go through business, and I go through business like I go through life. It is what it is. You have to be a grown up about it, and so that's kind of the mentality I use for navigating.
Johnny?
With me, to be honest with you, I just know. You just know, because you're working with these people, you get to know these people, and you bring them into your life, and a lot of them, they become like family. Like, you just know when it's over. The relationship's like no longer serving purposes for you or that person.
Right.
And you just get the feeling and the energy's there. Like it's over, it's time to move forward. Some people are just not appreciative, and you just got to move forward.
I think also in pushing that square peg in a round hole, it just doesn't work sometimes, right? And vibes are vibes. And so it's important to listen to that. I think sometimes we try, and I sometimes I wonder, as a woman, you know, am I making, if I want to fix this, but there are moments where you just can't fix something, right?
100%.
I think energy is huge. For us, it's funny, my mom says, how do you find new clients if you're doing that? And for us, it's about the person. I don't care, follower, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we can make $25 million with you tomorrow. It doesn't matter. We try to have a conversation. It's usually like kind of like a discovery session. Yeah. I don't care what your Instagram name is. What's your real name? Okay, I want to speak to that person. We have conversations, almost it's almost like an interview for a job, because we're going to be dealing with you for a long time. At least that's what we want to. And we do things very unorthodox, right? We sit there. If the person is right, you can have 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, 4 million followers. It doesn't matter. But if you're a good person, we start and we sit there and we don't even do contracts for the first 90 days.
Sorry to interrupt. It also you have to get them to be like just you and that person.
Right.
You can't say, oh, we're going to work together at a club or something or at an event. You literally have to sit them down and have like a one-on-one, like just you and them, or like you and whoever, just to get to know them, to see what their vision is, to see if it matches up to like, could I help you?
And who they are as a person, right?
100%.
If somebody has male, female, if you have a girlfriend, wife, husband,
That
we always
too.
tell them. We tell them.
Too.
Yeah, but we tell
the
them.
relationships too. A lot of people bring their other significant other, always involved relationships. Oh, my girlfriend's coming.
And you got to
they'll be
find
the
that
whole
out.
time.
You got to find that out at the
100%.
beginning. And seriously, because a
he'll
lot
be
of
everywhere with
times,
his girlfriend.
It's a marriage.
listen,
Yeah.
we have a 9-year-old actress, right? Summer Rose Castillo. She's amazing, right? So when we had met and we got introduced, obviously with the parents, and I told the parents, I said, listen, yes, we would be her management, but we're with you. Like, we're there's no way I'm talking to a 9-year-old saying, hey, you know, this came through, and it's not happening. So you speak to the parents, because it has to be like that. And if it doesn't work within that first if the first conversation, the power of no is incredible.
Yeah.
You may think you are who you are, and it doesn't matter. Listen, we protect this, and we're going to have, it's a relationship. It's an actual relationship. That's what managers need to have with them, and just every part of your team, there's a relationship. So we try to nix that in the beginning, because if there's a red flag, we're like, we'll see you later.
I agree with that.
Yep.
Right. So I pride myself in bringing value to the relationship, not just in business, but also in building that personal connection with my clients. So I try my hardest to not make it be a transactional relationship where it's like I'm only calling you when you have an audition or after you book a role. So in between all of that, because being an actor it's really lonely. Like there's times where you're going weeks, months, maybe even a year without getting an audition, and that can feel lonely. It can do a lot to you mentally. So you really have to work on your mindset and overall just your life in general. Who are you outside of that business and what you want to achieve? So I really do try my best to connect with people on a human level and meet them where they're at. So if a relationship doesn't work out, it could be on my end or it could be vice versa, but it's just, I don't take it personal. Sometimes relationships do come to an end, but I try not to be impulsive, because I know that, confrontation doesn't mean that it's, conflict or anything personal. It's just things that we have to work through, and that comes through communication, right?
Right.
So, if we're communicating and, and we can assess like, hey, these are growing pains.
Right.
Everything won't always be perfect. We're going to face adversity, but can we get through this together? Because that's what I'm here for. Any client that I work with and sign, I'm thinking long term. I'm not thinking we'll work together till, a certain point. I'm thinking we're gonna be here, 40 years from now, because that's my goal. Like I'm obsessed with what I do. And I think in, 10-year incrementals. So do I believe that I'll be around in 40 years, God willing? Do I want to be the greatest manager, one of the greatest managers to step in this industry? Yeah, of course. Is it going to happen overnight? No. But, I understand that there's going to be growing pains. So, I can't just shoot everybody away the minute that, conflict or something comes. So it's just all about communication for me. And yeah, it does happen. Some clients let you go, so you let some clients go. And it's part of the business, it's part of the process. And you just have to take it for what it is.
Cool. For the publicists, but I say we go across the board, how do you keep stories fresh around your talent or help position them as experts? Like, are you looking for, aside from media coverage or blogs, are there speaking opportunities? Or like, how do you keep it organic to keep building their image?
It really just depends on what they have going on, and you tailor everything around what they have going on. A lot of times you can keep people fresh by not having them do anything at all.
Agreed.
Because you rather people do things that are intentional, opposed to just having people everywhere. And I think again, it goes back to a lot of times people think you hire a publicist and all of a sudden it's supposed to be everywhere. There's nothing worse than putting a client on the carpet and the people on the carpet, the media don't know who that client is, or don't know they have a new project out, or they're just
something
there,
to talk about,
or there's nothing to talk about. And
That's
so,
my favorite.
so it's based on what the talent has going on, and then of course we build our ideas and those opportunities around what they have going on, whether it be a new project, a new movie, or a philanthropic endeavor. We build around that.
Right. My favorite is, aren't we issuing at least 2 or 3 press releases every month? And I'm like,
For
not
what?
really.
What purpose?
For what?
For what purpose? Exactly.
To me, listen, I always get stuck working with the most controversial people. I do. I mean, I worked with Farrah Abraham, and she was controversial, and then it went to like Janelle Evans, that was controversial, and then it went to like Courtney Stodden. So it's like my clients are just controversial. I think it just depends who the client is, and because everyone's different. But for some reason, I get stuck with the most controversial people, and I always tell myself, how? Like, do they talk and say he'll help you?
He'll help you.
But yeah,
Johnny will fix it.
I mean, I've learned recently, like in the past couple of years, the controversial PR, like trying to help them restore their like appearance in the press. That's something I've learned. I think the biggest thing I had was when my client's husband killed a dog. And my life was crazy for a week. I had calls from PETA. I had calls from like international organizations I never even heard of. Like the world shut down for me that week because like no one wanted her anywhere. The networks too, like I always get stuck with controversial people, man.
It's not stuck. It's that your energy.
It
to
just,
fix
yeah.
It brings it
I
about.
mean, and it's also reality stars, always controversial reality stars that are in the public eye.
My favorite is in managing expectations is saying the fact that maybe you're not the Wall Street Journal, right? And so that's not always easy, right? Because people, to your point, take it personally. And how do we? I know we've said it before, right? Let's not take it personally. Let's start a relationship so that we can have a conversation, but it's not that easy, right?
But the bigger they are, some of them have a legal team, and you sign NDAs where you're not allowed to talk to the press or pitch anything. So there's a lot of times where I've had people like, well, if you're going to work with us, you need to sign an NDA, and you can't pitch anything to any outlets. I'm talking about like huge. I'm like, whoa, sometimes.
Fine. So on your clients' profiles, as they increase, have you had to overcome certain situations? Mike, have you had to with team members or directly with your talent in order to maintain that strong working relationship?
Yeah, I think we were talking something similar in the back. We have a few clients, right? Quite a few, millions of followers, this, that, and the third. And sometimes clients sit there and say, oh, I just saw the 2 of them. They just got this. How come I didn't get that? And it's like, because that's not your brand. If it was your brand, we would have pitched you and we would have done that. So a lot of times, as you grow, as far as for me, when I started, as far as in this space, it was with 2. It was Chicla and Melanie, right? And it was kind of Chicla, and then we kind of took Melanie separately, and then we built the both of them, and then now, we kind of built and had, quite a few. But the thing is just understanding, and that's why I go back to that initial conversation. It's because we don't just do that with brands, right? Managing expectations with the client. Okay, what is it that you're looking to do? We want to know, where do you want to be? Okay, what's your, not in a week, what's your dream I want to write and direct. Okay, cool. Now how do we work towards that, right? So a lot of them don't understand. Like you guys were talking about, I want to press release tomorrow. I want to do this. I said, but for what?
Yeah.
You know, I love, you know, Chicle is a great example, right? So, you know, people always want, hey, follow me. And then he'll look at their page and he's like, but you don't post it. Like, even if I post and follow you, it's not going to help you. Like, what are you doing it for? Because he wants to help, right? But if you don't have anything, you know, like, you have nothing to push, right? And the same thing here. Like, every situation, all money is not good money, and it just doesn't make sense, because we try to find, at least on our side, we try to find people that are career driven and career oriented. So it's not like, what happened? How come they got? Where'd they go? It just doesn't work. So we try to, like I said, manage the expectations with everybody as much as possible.
And how do you add value, right? Like, so there's a certain, magazine or what have you, and you want to get them on there, but how do you make it add value to what your your purpose and your goals are?
Develop relationships with them a lot. And I develop relationships with a lot of people, especially like the outlets like The Sun, E-News. Like, I was just texting someone, and I'm just like, if you do this for me, please, like, I'll take you to dinner and drinks. Please do sightings for me. I'll invite you to an event. Like, I have someone coming to, like, front row of a fashion show, like, kind of bartering a little bit. Mm-hmm. Developing relationships with them, not just always working with them on specific things, but bartering.
Right.
So
I think your network is your currency, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think it's constant communication. Like he said, I'm not just reaching out to people because my client needs a media hit, and I'm not just reaching out to my client because I need my retainer paid. I'm reaching out in between time and figuring out what's going on and how we can continually build this relationship. And then when I'm going to these outlets, let's say it's for a cover shoot, how can I make this bigger than just the cover? Can we also do a release party? Because we want everyone to see this cover. What was the point of us spending? What is the point of us spending 12 plus hours on a set for a day for us to just post this cover on Instagram? So let's make sure people are seeing this cover. And so just adding additional components to what was presented to you to make sure that it's worth everyone's while.
Yeah, I mean, as my clients' careers grow, and that goes from anybody, is just make sure you stay focused, grounded, remember where you came from, and just remember those times where, it's tough. So just treat people well, and be a good person. I know it doesn't always go like that. It's not a perfect world, but stay focused. Continue to keep that focus, that passion, and continue to strive for greatness. And that's pretty much, the advice that I can offer, and I'm always there for guidance. That's why I'm their manager,
Right.
to offer them that guidance, keep them grounded, and hopefully, we have a good enough team, so my job is to be able to identify the right publicist for my client, the right agent, the right commercial agent, or the right attorney, making sure that, their personalities will be a good fit. If I'm not excited to talk about a client on my roster, then there's no point in me having them on there.
Right.
So I have to be able to be excited that when I go to a industry event, that I'm able to say, hey, so-and-so is going to be on this show on Netflix and this and that. So, yeah.
I think we're going to open it to the audience if we have any questions. Well, I'm not sure where we are in time because I can't see you. We're good. I'm like a blind eye.
This is an efficient panel. That's what we do.
Super good. But actually, before we even do that, as far as like you have your relationship with your clients, right? There comes a time where, is it okay to, when you're giving guidance, right? Because you don't make an ultimate decision for them, you can only guide them, right? Mm-hmm. Do you agree to disagree sometimes, right?
Most of the time, and I think to be a true professional, you have to be able to do that and be okay with it. Like I understand, like where it's an I have my way of thinking about things, and I am the professional, or I feel like I'm the professional in the situation, and I feel like I have the fix. PR does not work if that person is not ready for it to work. I can write as many apologies as I want, but if you're not really apologetic about what it is that you did, then this was pointless and that's pointless. So you can always agree to disagree, and you have to be okay with it. You have to realize that at the end of the night, letting things go allows you to sleep, and that's kind of how I maneuver through everything.
Right.
Thanks for the motivation.
No,
I'm motivated to listen to you.
I agree with that as well. Like we had spoken in the back, you know, we don't convince anybody. We can what we do and what a manager should do is, hey, in a scenario like a brand partnership, right? If this brand A came, look, this is what they'd like to do. This is what they'd like you to do. We feel that this would be great, Mike, I don't know. We just tell you what we feel. It's our job just to, again, guide, and this is what it is. And I always tell them at the end of the day, if you don't want to do it, it's fine. I don't care how big the check is.
Don't waste our time, though.
No, for sure.
Because I get a lot of time wasted.
No, but that's the thing, you know, like it's because it's hard, because sometimes, you know, we've had scenarios sometimes where we've had to convince them not to do it. Right? Because it's like they see the number, looks like a great scenario, it's a year deal, and okay, we're sitting here talking now, in month 3, are you still gonna be okay doing this? Because there's a lot of deliverables here, and I just wanna make sure that you don't look bad, I don't look bad, we don't look bad, because you're just thinking today the money looks amazing. 3 months, 4 months.
You're committed.
Right, and that's the thing is,
usually like in the middle of the commitment, a lot of them are just like, oh, well, you know.
Right, and that's the conversation you have to have.
That's a lot. They're like, oh, that's a lot.
You got to have that, because
I got to take pictures and videos.
Right.
Oh, and story
that's the
posts
whole
too.
thing.
That wasn't part of the deal.
Because they're just thinking about the money. And there are managers out there that'll sit there and just say, and they'll think right here, yeah, do it, because I know what I'm getting.
It's so funny you're saying that, because I remember, I would say maybe like 5 years ago when social media like first started blooming, when we would lock in deals, my client Eva, she was pregnant at the time. So right when she announced her pregnancy, we had locked in a tea deal. And I had met her in a hotel, like chased her to take pictures before she got pregnant, because the brand didn't know that she was pregnant. Yeah. So we had locked in the deal for like, you know, 5 or 6 months, and she's gonna be like, I'm pregnant. So I don't know how they want me to take these pictures. So I had used all the pictures from the months before, in different outfits, in different locations, the way we wanted it.
Yeah. So you know, I mean, you win some, you lose some. Right? So you have to know when to let go, and then sometimes you just, you know, gotta make an executive decision, because, you know, I try not to be an emotional person when it comes to that and make impulsive decisions.
Right.
So you just have to understand the situation, and, you know, at the end of the day, I always have the best interest at heart for my clients. So, you know, sometimes things don't work out the way we expect them to. Right. You know, the only thing we can control is our effort. You know, after that, everything else is left up to the universe. So I just go with that, you know.
I don't think ever in any point in my career, I've ever paused so much to reply to an email, right? Like, the pause allows you to not be impulsive, right? And to say, and to think a little bit.
I'm guilty.
You're guilty?
I'm impulsive.
I'm older than you.
And I'm loud. And I say how it is. Sorry.
I've learned to control it a little bit, just so I think it makes for more control for me. So anyway, but us girls, we get blamed for being emotional. So I'm
emotional.
That I'm not being. I'm making sure. See, the girls are all like, see, yep. So I work on the don't be emotional, so you can't tell me that I'm a chick. So that's okay. It's a girl thing. Alrighty. So I'm sure we have some questions back there. I can't see you guys. Do you want to take this one, or we got one there.
I know y'all have. Oh, there we go.
Come on, Joss. I thought you couldn't get the mic, Joss. Come on.
As men of color, what have been the biggest roadblocks coming up in this industry, and how did you navigate that?
Ooh, good one.
Ooh, that was really good. As a male of color, what has been my roadblock? Just being a publicist, a publicist in general. Just one. This is a predominantly young. Caucasian sport, and so, and it's normally done by females, and so being a male, being a black male, and then being a gay black male in this space has not always been easy, but I will say, because it was so difficult, I've learned so much in such a little time, and I'm so appreciative that I've been able to kind of knock doors down and create an atmosphere for those who's coming after me.
Well, that question hit a nerve, right? Because we were me and my partner were just talking about this, right? So we're managers, but we became marketing agency as well because we have different clients and different relationships. And there are sometimes some people, because we're the nicest people in the world, right? Nicest people you speak. Until we're not, right? If you mess with the brand, it's a problem, right? But the thing is that I feel like they take advantage, right? And they think because you're trying to do this, and I wish that they would try to waive a check like they would do for like some of the black and brown creators, but they don't even waive the check. So they sit there and they take the information. They take the information until we got to sit there and say, hold on a second, appreciate it, we definitely want to do this, but what's the fee? What's the situation here? Because again, because of the niceness, right? We don't want to say this, but you wouldn't treat the white marketing agency just like this. You wouldn't, because you think that this is what we need. And at the end of the day, like I told her, I don't care who it is, and not on a, cockiness, but it's like, I don't need you. I don't, because we're good for what we do and we want good people around us. So please don't treat me any differently, especially if I have numbers. I can show you the people. We've worked with the McDonald's, the Red Bull, the Netflix, the Hulu. Like, please, I can go down that too. But please don't treat me like I'm a second-class citizen. And that's, sorry, you hit a nerve right there.
And you shouldn't have to do that. And I think, again, that going back to, this industry is predominantly ran by Caucasian people. And so I agree. I agree with that. You shouldn't.
To add to that question, would you say that you've had to fight for rates?
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna be honest. With me, I just learned a lot. I have mentors. I have a couple mentors that I've worked with. I've just learned a lot recently in the past couple of years of what it is to be like a Spanish guy going into the urban market and going into the Spanish market. Every market is different. I'm gonna tell you right now, going to the Latino market, going to Premio Lo Nuestro, then going to the BET Awards is totally different the way it's ran. Yep. Okay? Premio Lo Nuestro is ran by a totally different ballgame. BET Awards, totally different ballgame. The VMAs, totally different ballgame. Like, it's all different. Like, and being accepted is kind of, I'm known as the reality person always. So going to the VMAs, going to the BET Awards, cool. Going to Premio Lo Nuestro, I know nobody. Literally, I go in there, I'm like, I know nobody in the Spanish market. But you meet people and you kind of like relate. Like we met in the back, we related on a lot. So you're learning, what it is to be like a man of color in this business.
And I want to definitely tell you, yes, the race. I was talking about that in the back.
We were talking about it.
That's right. That's the jersey coming out in you. So the thing is I want people to understand, like, there are things that are happening, and it's like you have to really witness this. I wasn't really, Mr. coming into the room pro-black, like I'm who I am, and it is what it is. But we've had two scenarios that we've seen, and I will not mention people or brands, right? The Latina, they offered $200. And now, mind you, keep all of these numbers the same, following, engagement, all of that. They offered the Latina $200. They didn't realize that that we represented another white blonde from California. We were having a conversation, and they offered her 20 grand for the same situation, right? Another company offered the black creator 20 grand, offered the white creator 100 grand, right? And that's a problem. And I'll respect, because again, it's not like we just represent black and brown, right? But the white creator said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it because they offered him that. No, it's not happening. And he turned it down. Like, those are the type of people we try to find. But that's happening. Like, that's really happening. And that's kind of, my partner, he's Jamaican. Big Jamaican Don. He's not here. But the thing is that that's what we're fighting for. Honestly, it's really about pushing this whole black and brown initiative, black and brown owned companies. And it's, you see the segregation out here, right? You see these big companies doing, oh, we're doing the black initiative. We're doing the Hispanic. I'm not a fan of that. Because you keep it segregated when you do that. Right. That's a problem. Why don't we just do and just do? Instead of saying, hey, this is boom, boom, boom. Just go ahead and do and put the right people and just give an opportunity to everybody. Because then I can understand why you did it. It's not that you have to do every black person, every Spanish person. You don't have to do that. Because if you have 10 people and, hey, 4 white creators were better suited, okay, I'll take that. But don't just sit there and separate people, because that's what's happening. they're segregating everybody. And when they do this to me, like I said, it's just, am I allowed to say anything like curse kind of?
At least he's asking.
Oh, I just wanted to know. Shit is bullshit. Shit is really bullshit. Like, honestly. And it's like, you know, I'm 47 years old. I've been from the music industry and this and this and that. I know I look like I'm 24. I get it.
Exactly.
So no, but the thing is, it's a problem, and I just want people to be aware of it, because it's not like we're out there promoting, say, hey, did you hear this? And I'm not going to put any company or people on blast, but it is a problem, and that's kind of something as far as for us. That's what we're fighting. That's why the power of no is incredible. So when somebody says, hey, we're going to give you this, we say no. No, thank you. What? Well, I could have got this person. Well, then go get that person. You're not getting this person or the people that we're dealing with. Sorry.
There's always a backup.
Get a little emotional. Get passionate. Get passionate about it.
Right. So for me, it's a little different than, you know, you guys. I mean, but it all ties into the same thing, right? Because growing up, you know, born and raised here in New York and growing up in Washington Heights, we didn't have those resources. You know, like I did theater in the 8th grade, and that was the only time I ever knew about theater. Other than that, I had no idea. So that has been my biggest challenge, that until I stepped out of my community, I didn't realize the possibilities and the different, because I can't sing, you know, like I play sports, but I wasn't gonna be an athlete. So aside from that, and rapping, you know, growing up listening to Jay-Z and everybody, aside from all of that, I didn't know about anything else. You know, I didn't know about the background, I didn't know about managers, publicists, agents. So had I had that information growing up, you know, maybe things are different. But, you know, that's why now is just, I focus on what I can control, and that's, you know, grateful to be here at the New York Latino Film Festival, right? It's been around since I was a teenager. And this is great because it brings information to people. And, you know, other than that, however the world is, I can't control anyone else. I can only control myself, my actions. And once I got access into this industry, it's like I realized I belong here. So you just have to have confidence, and hopefully you continue to inspire other Latinos, other people of color, you know, because all we need is resource, information, and be able to seek that and, you know, show that we belong. Because at the end of the day, whether you're, you know, white, whatever it may be, I belong in this arena, and I'm just gonna continue to blaze my trail, and everything else is, you know, it is what it is. It's part of life, it's part of the world right now. And, you know, I can't change everything all at once, but if you can affect, you know, one individual, that becomes a domino effect. You know, so it goes from me to somebody else, and then that person says, well, Dennis inspired me, you know, so I'm going to inspire someone else. And that's how you start to create change. But that was ultimately, you know, my biggest challenge, just having those resources. You know, in school, they don't really talk about that. You know, I went to school in Washington Heights, you know, PS4 on 160th, and then IS 164 on 164th. And, you know, they didn't teach us any of that or even talk about entertainment, you know. So hopefully we can bring that to our community, and that'll, you know, erase some of the barriers that we face. Information is, you know, I know it sounds cliche, but, you know, knowledge is power.
That's true. Any other questions? Come on down, you're the next contestant.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay. Hi, how are you guys? Thank you for your time. I just wanted to ask, being that you guys are talent managers and you have built the relationships you have with your peers, when you go to look for talent, is there like anything special that you look for or prefer, in a sense, because you also have a brand yourselves and things to maintain? So does that basically steer your judgment when looking for your talent?
That's a great question.
I look, from a publicist perspective, I look for people who I can build a genuine relationship or family with, and not only for myself, but for my current roster. So here at the I Am Freshie brand, we like our entire roster to be family. So I wouldn't be able to work with someone who is feuding with someone that's currently on my roster. I wouldn't be able to work with someone who I wouldn't bring to meet my parents. I wouldn't work with someone who I wouldn't want in my circle or could call a friend or a confidant. So those are the qualities in which we look for, and then we start from there, and we kind of have more qualities after that.
I would say we're the same. Like I said, the name, trust, honesty, integrity, and success. Like that's huge. the person is more important than the business. So the person has to be right. We listen, we don't look for the flash in the pan. We try to look for somebody that we would sit there and say, hey, they're talented. And if, I look, my partners look, or people in, hey, what do you think? I don't care if you have 4 followers or 4 million. It doesn't really matter. But like going back to what Freshie said, it's really, we create that family atmosphere. And if you're willing to work and if you can list, that's why we do that kind of like that 90-day period where there's no paperwork. Because if I just meet somebody, you come to the office and you're like, hey, this is what I got, whatever. And then it's like, yeah, we think we're great. Here, sign here. Like, my man, I just met you. Like, hold on a second, like that, because it's a relationship that you're building. So let's see what happens and what works. And within it's amazing. Within those 90 days, you can kind of see, what happens. And usually, a lot of times after the 2 months, they'll be like, I want to sign. What's going on? But if we feel like there's still some time that we need, we do something called representation plus. Right? We can represent you. It's a non-exclusive situation. And if you have questions, just call us, because a lot of people don't have people that they can reach out to kind of, hey, do you have, what do you think about this? And we always tell them, just because we're not involved in the deal, you came and we said, hey, we'll represent you and we'll pitch you. Somebody else might have done something. Hey, Mike, hey, Don, just a quick question. What do you think? We're not going to sit there, well, we're not getting any money off of this deal, so don't call me. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like what we're doing. And piggybacking what you had just said, we're really working on a curriculum for this, as far as so that black and brown people can see, that you don't have to just be an influencer, an athlete, or whatever. You can be an agent, you can be a manager, and learn from people that look like you, right? You don't have to be that. You don't understand what it is. So, sorry, I just want to take a second for that.
Yeah, I want to say, first off, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so, Dennis, I want to say I love you, and I respect your story, bro.
Thank
all
you.
right? But, Mike, I actually want to work with you, man. All right. So my question to you guys is, all right, so I come from a black dominant family that's in the industry, ASAP, to be honest. I'm got so much talent, and I'm like the shadow, basically.
Yeah, I get it.
You hear me?
I get it.
So I've been on many stages, Barclays Center, everything. You hear me? Flew out to LA, all that. And I'm just like trying to find myself in a way.
So I'll tell you, after this, we're definitely talking. It's not a problem, but I understand that, because I'm gonna tell you, my parents got divorced when I was 5 years old, and my family, my stepfather is an amazing individual, right? He's Italian and French Canadian. Yeah. An amazing individual. All right. And his name is John Favreau, and my cousin is John Favreau, the director who's done anything and everything. Iron Man, we've been to Jungle Book, all of that, right? So I feel what you're saying as far as the shadow. Like, my whole thing is, like, I'm not asking, like, when I was coming up, like, the beginning, I was like, can you do this? Can you do this? And he would, and it was like, I didn't have anything, right? So I feel the shadow aspect of it, because I tell my wife, I tell everybody, I'm like, listen, you know what? I'm gonna be in a situation, I'm gonna be in an event or something. He's gonna be like, what are you doing here? I don't need to let you know everything. So I get all of that. So we can definitely talk 1,000%. I'm here all night. No, I'm just here to
appreciate that.
No, but seriously, I appreciate. I'm glad that you came out.
Try to break out the shadow, though.
Yeah.
Just try to be you, and like, just because you grew up in the industry, in the business, just chill. Just go with the flow.
Yeah, my family.
Let it come to you.
Yeah,
gotcha.
It's cool.
And
appreciate you guys.
For real.
My advice for you, and just because I come from a similar kind of background, my whole family are athletes and some are rappers, and so and I'm Freshie. So my advice to you, it's okay to isolate yourself and separate yourself. Come back, get yourself together, focus on you and what it is that you want to do, build yourself up, and then go back to the family, because now you have your own light and you have value. And so that's going to do not only a lot for yourself, but then it's going to do a lot for the family as well. So it's okay sometimes to separate yourself and take care of you. You don't have to feel bad about it. Just do that.
Bad about it.
Yeah, do your thing.
That's where the hood came out. The hood came out. He's like, I don't feel bad. I'm just saying.
But it's an honest question, because I think from here, like, there's only so much you can cut money, right? So you're taking whatever percentage, and you have a retainer that's X, Y, and Z. How much money, like, what should an artist or anybody in this room anticipate money-wise? Because then, what do I get, $10 for myself, right? And I understand I need a team to keep me moving. But I think, do you guys scale, like how do you guys operate money-wise? And do you scale depending on the talent that you're working with? Okay, I really believe in you, I'm gonna charge you this or retain. Or, Mike, I believe in you in this way, maybe you may not have the numbers that I think are gonna generate X, Y, and Z for however period of time you're gonna represent me, I'm gonna percentage you out in this way. Because I think the things that we forget about is we need the team, and then we figure time to pay the rent, and we don't have the money, right? And so I think for us, it's like, what is the finance behind it, and what should anybody in this room anticipate financially to retain people like you?
For me, that's a twofold question, because again, as a publicist, I want to get paid. As an artist, you don't always have the currency to pay me. And so what I've done with my brand is I've put together resources like DIY PR. You can't technically afford my retainer at where I'm at right now, but I have a package in which you can afford, where you can do your own PR that's going to get you notarized and going to get you to being able to charge more money, and so you can follow back later on and be able to afford my retainer later on down the line. But then also, I just always encourage artists, you don't always need a team right off the bat. You don't really need a team until you're busy. You shouldn't be spending money if you don't have money coming in. And so if you don't have money coming in, find a way to generate currency for yourself, so that way you don't have to pay someone to generate that currency for you. And you can do things like invest in apps on your phone. Canva, it's good. Make your own flyers. You don't need a graphic designer. You shouldn't be paying a graphic designer.
Don't spend money. Don't spend money you don't have.
Yeah, don't spend money. Really don't spend money you don't have. And a lot of times you can really build yourself up before paying anybody out.
Yeah, and
I think this, and Chris, I'm glad you brought that up, because everybody feels like, okay, well then I need publicity because I got this idea. Everyone feels like they need a publicist. That's the first thing.
A lot of people just think they want publicity because they see like everyone else walking on red carpets and shit.
Yeah.
It's fine, but the thing is it's beyond that. It's like, at what point do I gotta give publicity to myself? It's like about the carpet. But I think the thing is to your point, I think a lot of people in this room, including filmmakers, you have to function like an independent artist.
Right.
As far as
Pre-plan.
getting yourself out there on your own.
yeah, Calixto, I think you gotta find the right people, and that's a great question. You should probably put a festival together. Great idea. No, but the thing is again, like what Freshie said, like how we work. Anybody that comes on, especially if we're building you, if you make anything $500 or less, we don't touch it, right? Because it's like we gotta kind of build you. You know, like again, Chicle's my nephew, right? And we started in 2017 in July. Right, and we went to a meeting, he came downstairs, he goes, Mike, I had no idea what the hell they was talking about. Can you do this? And I did it. And what happened was, for him, I said, listen, I know you know Uncle Mike, I'm gonna show you Manager Mike, right? So from July to December, I'm not taking anything. I'm just gonna build you up because I cared about him as an artist, I cared about him as a man, right? So we kind of took, you know, thank God my partner's on the same level as far as the thought process, because you gotta build these people. Right? So, and what we do, we're super unorthodox. If we sit there and then there's an agent or, you know, getting with maybe a fashion management company, hey, listen, they take 20%, okay, listen, let's have a conversation and we'll split it, because we try to have the artists make as much as possible. Because like what you're saying, there's so much money that gets taken out. Like you said, I have $10 after everything. But you got to find the right people. You got to find the right people and things like that. I think that's awesome as far as to do it yourself. And it's, you know, those are the type of people that you want to be involved with, because that is almost like an incubator for Freshie. Sit there, be like, hey, do this. I told them to do that. Now they did that. And now maybe you become on his radar. Like, wow, damn, they did this, and I remember when you reached out, and this is what I have, because you want to show like the initiative, and you see that. So, you know.
I think part of it too, isn't it, when you build the right clients, right, and you build the right family, and you build the right relationship, you're gonna know that maybe sometimes you do have to negotiate. You have to split a commission.
Everybody's different, though. I'm gonna say this again. Everybody's different. Okay. Because listen, reality stars are one thing, actors are something, and then people who randomly hit you up and like they want a publicist, and I go, you need a publicist for what? What are you pushing?
That's true.
And why are you spending
like
the?
who your client
Yeah,
is,
so I mean, like
based
for
on
instance, I have someone coming up to me right now, and I told her, let's sit and talk about it, but we're planning for next year, because after this year, like for the rest of the year, the holidays are coming. There's nothing going on. You want me to get you a red carpet for what? You're gonna pay me $5,000 for what? You know what I mean? Sometimes I take into consideration and respect people's time as well, you know, and I just like to pre-plan before I give them numbers.
Yeah, so with actors, you know, they pay their representatives on commission. So their agents take 10%, managers take 10%, and then publicists are on retainers. So, you know, until you get to a level of like series regular where you're getting, you know, way bigger paychecks and consistent money, you know, per episode, that's a time when you can think about bringing on a publicist where it's like, okay, that's an additional expense. And then you also bring on an attorney onto the team who takes 5%. So, you know, you start to add those things up is a pretty, you know, pretty big chunk. But at the same time, you know, you're not paying the agent or manager until you book those roles. You know, so anything from co-star to guest star to recurring guest star, you know, those paychecks are on a certain scale. So, you know, our advice is if we have anybody who wants to bring on a publicist during those times is like, okay, is it worth it for the role that you're playing? You know, would it be sustainable for what the publicist is going to charge you on a monthly basis? You know, those are campaigns that things don't just happen in 2-3 months. You know, you have to bring on a publicist up to 6 months, sometimes a year, for you to start to see some results. So those are all just things that you have to think about and manage your money well. And then for actors, is like, you know, you're going to be working, you know, regular jobs, whether it's waiting tables or whatever it may be. You're 9 to 5 until you book those roles. So until then, as a management company, we're not taking any money from you. Like, we're not charging you. So if anybody is asking you for money, don't do it, you know. Those payments come directly from production, you know, to us, whether it's the agent collecting it or the attorney, and then, you know, the paychecks are being, you know, sent out to everyone that needs to get paid on the team. And, you know, other than that, we're just putting in the work, putting in the effort, and, you know, continue to push.
All right, well, we could keep this group talking for a long time. Thank you,
For
guys.
a long time.
For a long time. So, well, we're going to wrap this up. I'm sure you'll be around a few minutes for any more individual questions, but a round of aplauso for these guys.
Thank you.